Hey guys, welcome to the StudiO2 kitchen. I wanted to bring you into our world a little bit today because I get so many questions on a daily basis about specific types of foods and how they fit into the overall macronutrient breakdown that you're aiming for on a daily basis. And one of the biggest questions that I get is when you've maxed out one of your categories, your proteins, your fats, or your carbohydrates, how do you still hit those other two numbers? And so I wanted to just show you a couple of the tricks of the trade that I've utilized or that other clients have shared with me that they've utilized to really help them stay on target and to still hit those numbers consistently, even if you might have gone a little off course earlier in the day and you're kind of in a stuck place. So let's walk through each individually, and then we'll talk about a few that are more of a combination depending on what your needs are. Probably the most common category that gets maxed out earlier in the day and you're kind of in a stuck spot is your fats. Most foods have some level of fat in them. And unfortunately, especially if you're eating out an earlier meal in the day, like you go to lunch with some coworkers and you have something that was a little bit higher fat than expected, you get to dinner and you're like, oh shoot, you know, I need to eat, and I've got a ton of carbs and proteins left, but I'm out of fat. So I want to show you just a couple of choices that can help you stick within that framework but still increase the carbs and the proteins throughout the day. So I've got a lot of stuff here sitting out, and you can kind of see I've categorized it, but obviously the one thing you can do, you're out of protein and you're out of fats, or you're just out of fats and you need to get some carb in there, is to go with some fruit. So, you know, depending on how much carb you need, bananas, grapes, grapefruit, apples, pears, peaches, all of those are going to be straight carb. Any fruit is a carbohydrate in and of itself. There's no fats, there's no proteins, it's just a carbohydrate or a simple sugar. So unfortunately, if it's later in the evening when you need to get those carbs, straight sugar isn't the best thing to be putting in. But if it's combined with your dinner and you're just going to have a side of fruit with your protein, an egg white omelet or something like that, throw a side of fruit in, it'll help to offset that blood sugar spike that will come inevitably with just a bowl of fruit. But that's one choice if you're looking strictly for a carbohydrate. So fruit is a great choice. A great combined choice if you need protein and some carbohydrate would be to go with a 0% Greek yogurt. So something like, and my favorite is a Dannon Light and Fit. Got a great breakdown, 8 or 9 carbohydrates depending on which flavor you choose, and 12 grams of protein, 0 fat. So this is a great choice if you're maxed out on fats, you still need a kind of a kick of protein, and you need a little bit of carb in there. You can even add fruit to it, bring the carb count up, keep the protein where it is. Vice versa, if you need a little more protein, you could always add a little stir of protein powder, which I'll show you guys in a minute. That's another opportunity to bring a little bit more protein, or pair it with something like a little piece of grilled chicken or some nut deli lunch meat. So a good protein carb only choice. And let me sneak in the freezer. If you want more of a sweet treat, hey, this is also a great choice. You've got the frozen Greek yogurt, 6 grams of protein, 18 carbohydrate, but no fat. So again, a simple sugar, not the greatest late night treat, but a really good choice if you're looking for something sweet late at night. This is a typical protein supplement, just an isolate. So straight protein, this actually has 0 carbohydrate and 0 fat. So if you mix this with a little almond milk, you might get a little bit of a bump up in protein and fat. And if you mix it with water only, or if you have more carbs, you could throw some banana in there or any other fruit in there, bump the carbs up, 25 grams of protein in a scoop. So that would be if you're like really low on your protein and you need a little bit of a bump without the added fats. Another great choice. Okay, cheese, deli meat. Right, you might have a little fats left, you have no carbs left. Right, so you're getting toward the end of the day or lunchtime, snack time, after lunch, and you want protein, you want some fats, but you don't have any carbs left. No carbs in your deli meat. I would suggest, if you're going to go with deli meat, to try to do low sodium. Boar's Head makes a really good preservative-free, low sodium or even no salt added. It's not cheap, but it's a really good opportunity for a low-fat, no-carb protein, and even pair it with some reduced-fat provolone or any other cheese that you like. Right, this is 3 grams of fat in a slice, so you could roll some turkey meat up in the cheese, have 2 or 3 of those depending on how much fat you have left, and it's a great no-carb snack that you could go with. And you could even, add some Greek yogurt with that if you need a little carb. So these are, you need some fat, right? You need some protein, but you're not trying to add any more carb in. Those are some great choices. Another all protein, so this would be something you have no fats, you have no carbs left, you just need a quick protein. You don't want to go to a supplement, which I understand. My choice would always be not to supplement unless you have to. This is just liquid egg whites. So I'll bring it in a little bit closer. Okay, this is a quick way, get those egg whites, don't have to worry about the mess of separating the yolks, right? About a cup of this is 4 eggs. Throw that in, scramble it up, or you could even throw some veggies in there, some spinach, peppers, mushrooms. That might add a touch of carb, but typically not enough to worry about. Straight protein opportunity here with your egg whites. If you just need carb, okay, you maxed out your protein, you maxed out your fats, got to get carb in, you don't want to go to fruit. Okay, sweet potato, baked potato, right? Brown rice, pasta, oatmeal, all of those are going to be plain carbs. Any of your grains like that, not going to have any fats, not going to have any proteins. When you go to more of a processed product like a bread, something like that, you're going to have the added fats and the added protein. But something raw like that, a potato, sweet potato, unless you put things on it like butters and sour creams and cheeses, it is in and of itself a straight starch or carbohydrate. So that's a really good choice if you want to stay away from the simple sugars of the fruit. So a good choice there. And something I'm going to do tonight, now this is just sort of a little secret that I use to bring in a little bit more protein when I'm making a dish like tonight. We're going to have fish tacos, and I'm going to do a little bit of a spicy slaw mix to go on there. So we're having the fish, but we wanted to bring a little more protein in. So this is just a plain Greek yogurt, okay, and they have all different kinds, but this one's just a 0% fat. We've got 6 carbs in there and 15 grams of protein. Now I'm not going to use the whole container in the slaw, but when I make the recipe, I can break it down and know that I'm adding probably 3 or 4 grams of protein to my slaw, whereas otherwise, if I just used a mayonnaise or a ranch, I'd have a lot of added fats and a lot less nutritional value from the protein and the carbohydrates. So I'm mixing my slaw with Greek yogurt rather than using a pre-prepared dressing. And I will put some spices and things in there to doctor it up a little bit. But that keeps you, your fats really low. So if you need to do, if you're going to do a coleslaw or some kind of a dressing and you don't want to have the added fats, you can always look to mix it with a 0% Greek yogurt, and that'll be a great way to bring in some additional nutrients. The last thing that I wanted to show you, just one of my favorites, these little Smart Pop mini bags, Orville Redenbacher. They've got 25 grams of carbohydrate in one of the little mini bags, and you're going to have a touch of fat, about 2 grams of fat, and a couple grams of protein in there. So again, if you're really trying to nail those numbers spot on, you do know that there'll be a little added protein and fat in there, but we typically have a couple grams to play with here and there. So if you need a big bulk of carbs, 20-25 grams of carbs, but only a little protein, that's a really good choice. One bag, you can eat the whole bag, and it is filling. So it also tides you over, late afternoon snack, something like that. So anyway, thanks for coming into the kitchen today. I just really wanted to share some tricks of the trade and some learning experiences that we've had in working through some challenges of, it's dinner, I don't have any fats left, I'm starving, I don't want to go to bed without dinner. How can I make that work? Egg white omelet, Greek yogurt, side of fruit, get your carbs in, get your protein in. Okay, have some deli meat with some slices of cheese, maybe even some veggies, fruit like carrots and celery and cucumbers with a side of fruit. Okay, again, there's no fat there to speak of, a little bit in the cheese, so you might have to nix the cheese, but the key is that you don't just give up. If you get to that point in the day, you just have to start to be creative, and the more you work through it and the more you adapt, the more ammunition you'll have moving forward to troubleshoot those times when you need a little extra kick. Enjoy!